Hey, welcome back to our website hacking series. Right now, in this specific video, we will understand all about the HTML form completely, and we will also understand about why they are so important and critical from the attacker, from the hacker point of view. But before we get into that, let me give you a quick overview of where we are. We are already done with 4 videos. In part one, I have talked about how web pages are made. In part two, we talk about the client side and server side. In part three, we talk about how the browser and the server communicates using the HTTP language, right? And in part 4 we talk about the cookies and session management, like how website remembers you. Now here we have a problem. If we zoom out and look logically of what we have covered so far, there is a problem. So we understood about the websites, we then talk about the cookies. But if we look at this logically, first, when you go to a website, you see some kind of login page, contact us page, where you put your data and send it to the server. It does the SQL queries, database queries, and if your credential, if you want to log in, if your credential are correct, the server will give you the cookies, session ID, and after that the website will keep remember you, right? So we have talked about the website, user visit website, these kind of stuff, how this work, and these part as well, this right here. But actually we have not talked about the server queries, database for password and other stuff, and as well as the HTML login forms. So I should have done this before the cookies, but it is not very late, we can still do it, right? So in this video we will talk about the login forms, and in the next video we will talk about the server queries, database related things. We are going to cover what HTML forms are and each types of element and a lot more. So without any further delay, let's get started. Okay, before understanding the HTML form, let's understand the reason behind why actually we need to understand the HTML forms. Once we understand the reason, we will then move into actually learning the about the HTML forms. Okay, so think about you go to a website, you might see a login page or you might see a registration page where they give you some kind of login form where you enter your credential and then it gets processed by the server. The simplest example I can give you right now is that if you have your created Gmail account. So first of all, when you go to the gmail.com website, they give you kind of two options. One, to log in with Gmail if you have one, and if you don't have one, they give you another option to create Gmail, right? So if you don't have Gmail, you will click on the create new Gmail account. After that, they will give you some kind of form where you will have to enter some certain information like your name, your username, and the email address you want, and as well as the password and a lot more details, right? So that form you see right here, that is called the HTML form. And same is the case for if you had the Gmail account already, you will just click on the login page and you will enter your Gmail and then the password. So wherever you enter the password, the information, and it gets sent to the server, it is there is always HTML forms. Okay, now let's move into this. Or maybe another example will be like, let's say there is a blog website where they post like some kind of web post, right? And at the end of each blog there is a comment box where you enter the comments, where you type the comment you and other users. Same is the case the news articles website, they post the articles and they have the comment box where user just do the comments there, right? So that comment box is also HTML form. Now the critical part here is that form are the primary way the user send information to the server. Okay, since forms are the primary way users send data, normal data, the attackers also target those HTML form which send data from user to the server. So attacker tries to put malicious data in those form, in the comment box, in those login form, in those registration forms, in the or comment or contact us pages, and it gets sent to the server. And if it is not validating the data correctly, it might get processed there and does its work, right? So Simply, if a hacker wants to hack a website or do some test some stuff, what they're gonna do is, first of all, the first step they will do is they will tries to find out all of the HTML forms, like the command box, login page, and other as well. So they will put the malicious code there and see if they're gonna work or not, because the forms basically are the entry point for the data. So this is why understanding the HTML form is very important. So now let's understand the HTML form actually. So this is, we have this example over here. um Imagine you go to a bank, you want to open a new account, they give you a paper form. On this form you will have, there are fields like your name, your date of birth, your address, your phone number, and your email. You fill all these information, you give it back to the uh, person, and they just process that and just kind of write that information in their computer, so they will have a digital record of that, right? Or another example will be like, let's say you want to get admission in a school or college. What you will do is you will go there, they will give you some kind of form where you will have to it will have some kind of boxes or fields, like for example your username, and then you will have to write the username and your parents phone number and other question as well. So you will fill the form manually and give it to them. The person, they are the computer person, will write those details in their computer and store that information for future use. So later when they need that information for that specific student, they can just extract that information, take that information from the database, from the place they're stored in. So HTML forms work exactly the same way. HTML form is a way for user to send information to a website. The website displays a form. You will fill the form, you click submit, and the information you submit is sent to the server. The website receives your information and process it. That's what HTML form does. Now you might have a question that why do we even need form? Why cannot we directly send information to the web server? So that is a good question, and let's talk about let's understand this. A user is sitting at their computer, the server is sitting somewhere in data center. Your computer is somewhere else, the database, the server is somewhere else. They are connected by the internet, but they are completely at different places. They cannot communicate directly. There must be something in between so that they can communicate through that. Your client, your browser, and the server. So the only way to communicate is through the HTTP request and HTTP response. If you have watched the previous videos, the previous part, you might know what this means. Basically, HTTP is the language your browser and the server communicate. Your browser, your client, you are the client, the browser. Your browser is the client side, and it sends HTTP request to the server. The server process that information, and it kind of send the HTTP responses to your client, to your browser, right? So this is the request response model. They work like this way. And yep, so we have already talked about this. So the user fills in a form, the form is converted into HTTP request. We will talk about this later in this video, how when we put the information in a form, how it gets converted into HTTP request. Don't worry about that, we will talk about this in this specific video later. Okay, so the request is sent to the server reads the request and understand what the user wants. So without form, the user will have no way to send the information to the web server. So forms are the only primary way to send information from the user to the web server. Right now let's talk about this, how does that work step by step. Okay, so first of all, we will have a display form. So when you go to a website, there, as I said, will have a some kind of HTML form where the user will have to enter the credential. Let's take the example of login form. Okay, so a login form will have two fields, two option, two question, where which one will be the username, another will be the password. So the user, don't worry, I'm going to do the practical of this as well right now. So the user will insert the username as well as the passwords. Okay, password, I mean. So once they enter their username and password, they will click on the submit button. Once they click on that button, it will send that, it will create HTTP request out of that, and it will send it to the server. So right here you see this is the sign in page or login page, okay, and we don't have any HTTP request or anything else. So if I copy this will be the username, okay. So let me just copy this and paste this guy over here, and same is the case for password. So let me paste this as well, and you will see I will get login, and we will also see the request over here. So let's wait and see. We have sent the use the username this guy and password this, so we made a HTTP request, right, and this and send it to the server. The server processed that information and said yep, these credentials are correct, and it let us to log in, right. So we had the login page, we input the credential, it sent to the server processed that, and just these credentials that we enter are correct, that these are present already in the database where the username password related stuff is stored on the server side is already present. So that is why we logged in. If I had entered a wrong password or username, it will not have let me log in. Let me show you, okay. So I'm just gonna copy this guy again, and I will just type some random stuff, and let's see. You see right here, unauthorized 401. This status code mean either your username is incorrect or password. So yep. Now let's back to this. So a browser create HTTP request. We saw this HTTP request sent to the server. The browser send HTTP this HTTP request to the server. The server processed the request, and it reads the data from the form. It processed that. For example, if it is a login page, the server checks does this username exist. Same thing I just told you. If the user exists, if it then checks if the password the user enter is correct or no, right. If the user does not exist, it will then tell you that invalid and give you 401 error. Now the server sends HTTP response. The server sends back an HTTP response, like kind of says login successful or login failed if the either the username or the password is incorrect, right. So that's that. And now we will have to talk about the HTML form actually. So we have the one of the keyword. I'm gonna open the notepad and we will understand it, okay. So I do have a form already over here, this HTML form. Let me just open with notepad like this, and let's remove what is already over here, and let's move back to this, not this guy. So this is the simplest form HTML form possible. This right here creates the form. This just kind of create the container where you will have to enter, like creates different field, different question like username, password, phone number, country, and a lot more option. So this tag opens the container, opens the form, and wherever you type this, it will create the it will end the form. This tag is the container, tells the browser everything inside this is a part of the form. Without the form the tag, this will just be a regular input, but with it they are part of the form, they can be submitted, right. So let's see, like this, I will just type the form and then close it right here. We close it with using this /form, and we just created a form. Now let's understand the rest of the thing. For this specific form, these are the attributes. We are telling that to perform some action. So the action would be like to send the data that we submit to this login page, okay. And we use the post method, not the get. Post, if you remember, post is the HTTP method. It is when we need to send information from us to the server. So we use the post method, and whatever we send in the when we use the post method, the whatever data we send, it is in the body section, not in the URL. If instead of this, if we use the get method, so all of the detail will be shown in the URL. So we are telling this action attribute tell the form where to send the data. This example, send the form data to login on the server, login page slash login page on the server. If like for example, if the server is at example.com, the full URL will be example.com slash login. So it will send the data over there. These are very important because if we try to log in, we will send the data to login page. If we want to register a new account, we will send it to, like for example, a slash register path like page. And if we want to send it to the we use the contact us page, it will send the data to the contact us page, right? These are the endpoints. Now we understand this, but right now we don't have anything to send data to, so I will just not write this. Okay, instead I will use just the form. I will not use the attribute. Attributes are basically, I think, more like characters, I guess. So we are not on any real server. I don't have anything, so I will just try to create a simple form where we can see the things. So we cover this line and this line. Now these line are, let's talk about this. Okay, so we have input here, input here. Let's talk about this now. Input, yep, the individual form field. For field is like each question. Okay, so if you create each field, it will be like, for example, I create a field for a username, so it will become a username, a label will be username, and then we will have a box over here that each line will be like each individual field, right? The input tag creates an individual form field, and the type specify what kind of field you want. Do you want text field or number field or password field or like hidden field which is hidden from normal user? So a type attribute, what kind of form you want to specify. Like I'm gonna explain what kind of types we do have. And next we have the name attribute. What is this field called? So we'll specify the field over here, the type of field, and then we will give the field name. Like this will create the box, and for the what that box will be called as username, even though this will not be shown to the user, but still. So let me copy this right here and I will just paste this over here. Okay, we'll see this. I just save this by pressing the Control S. Now let's go here and let me close this page. And where is that file? This is the file. Now let me click on this. This is the field we just created. Now if I right click on that, inspect, and we'll be able to see that this is the text file, and the name of the field is username. Now we don't see anything inside that. Like let's say if we want to tell the user that enter your username over here, so we will talk about this. It's called label, and like for example, I will just type the label and then close the label. Just so we'll close the label over here. Okay, and just type the username and like this. And let me move it back to this. I just give it to space so that you understand it better. Now let's refresh this guy, and you see right here the label. We can see the label now. So it created the text field. Now let's talk about the different kind of types, a different type of attribute or field. So first of all, we have the type one. The type attribute tells the browser what kind of field, input field this is. Different types of inputs behave differently. They have different purpose. The browser treat them differently. Let's understand each one by one. Okay, like not allowed, but some very important ones, they are allowed. So first we have the text one. This create a simple text input field. What it does is it displays an empty box on the page. Like we see, if I remove this, let me just remove this again and save it and refresh this. Let me close this as well. So it just create empty box. You see right here, user can type anything into it, no restriction, and it does not do any restriction and does not neither do any validation. Like whatever you type, see, that's what gets sent to the server. If for example user type john123, the request it will send to the server will be username equal to john123, because we see the username here, because this field specifically is called, we specify here that this field must be called username. We can just name it anything, but the good practice is to use the good like perfect name. Like for example, this is the username field, so we will type this over there as well. Now if the user types something like this, it will also send username equal to this kind, right? Because it does not do any validation, neither restriction. Now, if the user type in that empty box like script and this script, this is JavaScript. Okay, so that request will be like the username equal to script alert hit a script. If this execute, if this gets sent to the server and the server does not do any do the validation on server side, so it will once it's sent there, we will see a kind of pop-up. Like if we refresh that, we will see a pop-up over here because of this script. Now let's talk about why they are so important from the hacker's point of view, because the text input are the primary injection point for attacks. We talk about HTML forms are the primary way for the input, so attackers also target that. An attacker can type malicious code into a text input and send it to the server. If, as I said earlier over here, if the server does not do the validation, validate this data properly, the attack succeeds. This is why the input is the inputs text input are very dangerous. So we must validate it on both side, on the client side as well as on the client or server side. Now another input type we have is the password. So what password type gonna do is these are basically the reserved keywords. So if you type the text over here, it will give you the text input. If you type the password, it will do another function. These are like already defined words, keywords, right? So let's say we create a new field with the type password, and we'll just call that box password as well. Now what this gonna do is this creates a password input field. It will display an empty box on the page. When you type anything, the character will just gets hide. Like we will see dots dot or static. This is this is basically just for visual privacy. So someone looking like let's say I wanna enter some kind of password, and somewhere if someone is standing near me, they won't, even if they look at that password, they will just see some dots or asterisks. So this is just for that purpose, but actually it does not like encrypt the password or do anything. It just hide the password, kind of make it look like dots or static. Okay, so let's talk about this later. First of all, let me copy this and see what kind of bugs it gives us. So we already made this one. Now let's just talk about this. I will just give it also the label. Okay, this will be the label. So we will see that this is a username field, and let's give it the password field. Now I just save that, and let's move here and refresh this. So this is the username field and this is the password field. If I type something over here, we can see that. But if I type anything over here, like you see right here, it is hidden. We cannot see it. Okay, so now let's back into this and see. We talk about this is just visual privacy, not actual privacy, or it does not encrypt. The password is sent in plain text, not encrypted. So when you type secret 123 into a password field, the browser hides it visually on the screen. But when the form is submitted, the password is sent as plain text in the HTTP request. If we use the HTTP, it will send in plain text, but if we use the HTTPS, it will get encrypted. The entire HTTP request will gets encrypted. Nobody will be able to see that. So let's take the example of the HTTP one. Let's say you are using the HTTP and someone is on your same network. The like for example, if you are connected to the same network, I am as well. So if you send the HTTP request with these password field and that request is going to the server, I can intercept that. I can see what you send and I can look at your password and steal that, and later I can use to steal your account as well, right? So this is why you need to use the HTTPS over the HTTP. What I said is here, if I intercept the HTTP request using the Burp Suite, this is another tool. We will be talking about this in I think 4 or 5th module. Right now this is module 1. So don't worry about that, we are not going to into any detail with about this. So we can use this tool to intercept the HTTP request, and we can easily see the plain text password, right? Now we have another input type. This email is also already defined. So if you type the input type equal to email, it knows that email has a specific pattern, specific structure, so it must ask that pattern as well. Same thing with the text field. You will but it will ask in text field you could just enter anything, but in email field you will have to enter the email pattern. You will have to follow the email pattern, right? But what you can do is that since it is only doing the client side, the browser side validation, the this form, this type, what you can do is, even if you type the, let me first of all create this guy over here. So we will have this, let me give it label, okay? So we will be able to see that this is for the username, this is password, and then let's also give it the label to this guy as well, which will be email, okay? Email. Now I save that. Let's see. So you see right here we have got three fields. This will ask the email pattern. You will have to follow the email pattern, okay? Now let's get back into this. What actually it will do, as I already explained, it will just validate like if you type the email in specific pattern email pattern, it will say it is valid and it will allow the submission. If you just type like willingly type this another format, another structure, it will say it is invalid format, so it will say that enter the correct email. Or if you type like this, it will also say invalid. The problem with this is it is only doing, the browser is only doing client side validation. It happens only in the browser. But let's say if I type the correct email, okay, and click on send or submit form, and I am listening to that request with Burp Suite, I can, Burp Suite is a tool basically which can intercept, which can, like for example, this is HTTP request, it will go to the server, this is the server, this is the HTTP request, it will go to like this, and the Burp Suite will stand over here in the middle. Whenever the HTTP request is going to send to the server, it will go through the Burp Suite. So Burp Suite will be able to see the request, and it can modify that request, and it can like drop the request as well, right? So we will type the email, correct email format over here, it will go to the Burp Suite. We will stop the HTTP request over there, and we will change the HTTP the email format using the Burp Suite, and we can send something else, like for example this script or some malicious script. So we will modify the HTTP request in Burp Suite over here, and after that we will tell the request you can go to the server, so it will go there here. Since we send the malicious script over here, it will get executed over here if it does not do any client server side validation, okay? So the main point is that you must do the server side validation as well. Again, if it does not do the server side validation, it can do the bad stuff. It can make the attack succeed. Now another, we have the type is the number. You can type the numbers, you can like type only the numbers. If you type the ABC in this field, it will say invalid. So same thing, if you do server side validation, it is good, but if you do only client side, browser side validation, you can intercept that, and you can modify the request, HTTP request, and send it to the server. And then we have another input type, which is the checkbox. Like let's see this one, okay? I'm going to paste this over here, and what this going to do is this will create the type checkbox. This is again a predefined keyword, which when you type this guy over here, it will give you like kind of box where you can just click on that, and it will be marked with tick, okay? And we will just name it agreed terms. You can just name it anything, and the value we want to put in that box is that we just want to like already defining the value for that box that we will get. We will give the value yes, and we will say I agree the terms, okay? Let's see it visually, okay? So I'm going to go here and see like this. So you see right here, if I click on this, it will mean yep, yes, I agree the terms and conditions. So this is what the checkbox create. I can create another checkbox as well, like for example, let me remove this one, and let's copy this, copy, and like this, press checkbox, let's name it country. Okay, I will name this country, and this guy as well, this will also be country, and the value it will have is that let's call it a, and let's call it b. So we need to remove this guy over here. I don't need that because we just, let's remove this, and now let's specify country A and country B. Let's save it and move this. So either you are from A country or B country, or you are from both. You can add some kind of validation that user can only select one country at a time. Right now it is just a basics checkbox. So this is what checkbox type do. Now let's get back into this. If you click on that, it will means yes, because the value is yes. We need to also include this as well. If you don't click on that, it means nothing is sent. Another is the radio. It will kind of create those small circular type of option instead of this checkbox. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's create this like this, and so this is the radio kind of thing you see right here. It is, you can actually select one at a time with a radio. You can select only one. So again, you can if the server is not doing the validation on its own, you can just send the HTTP request, intercept it with the Burp Suite, and if let's say you click on the free option, you select the free like this and click on the submit, we will intercept the HTTP request and move, and instead of the free we will modify that request with the premium, right? Again, we have another type which is file. If we create a field like this with the file type, it will give us like the file upload option. Let me just do that. Okay, again, like this. So this is the file type and this is the profile picture or any image, does not matter. So you see right here, if I click on this, it will let me able to upload picture, which we can send it to the server. And over here, you see right here, file uploads have a huge number of vulnerability. So yep, it might have a lot. We don't know right now. We will not cover. We will not discuss anything, but we will later see. Attacker can upload malicious file. Attacker can upload file disguised as image. Like it means these are, it will not be image, but it will we will make it like image. And attacker can upload file that execute code. File uploads are a separate category of attacks. Yep, this is true. We will not discuss right now, but later in some other module. Then we have another tab which is the submit. When we type this will create a button. This create the submit button. Displays a clickable button. When click, it submit the form. The form data is converted to an HTTP request and sent to the server. So I'm going to add this as well over here. Let's do this and save it, and let's go here again. You see right here, right now we just name it login. I can also name it as submit form or anything. So this is like that, and let's see we just change the button name. Another field, another type input type we have is the hidden. It is not shown in the like over here. We cannot, even if we create a field with hidden type, we will not be able to see that over here. The reason the developer use the hidden field to send the data that the user should not be supposed to see or modify. Like for example, if we type this user role and the value will be, if let's say we want to create a new user, so what it gonna do is we will just this, let's suppose this is a registration account registration page. We will enter this data this and select this option as well, and the hidden request, let me just add it over here. Okay, so we will then be able to see that as well. Let me refresh that. See, we don't see any another field. So we'll fill all these data, and when I click on the submit form, what it's gonna do is it will also send this guy over here. Let's see. So this is the form right here. It will also send this hidden field which its value is user. So it means the user that we will create, the role it will have, that new user will have a normal user role. And let's say if you want to, we have another page, admin portal. Instead we have another portal. Let's just assume that. Okay, so assume this is a normal user login page or registration page, and this is the admin registration page. We will again enter details, and when we click on the submit, it will also send this hidden field as well. Let's go here, but instead now we will see the hidden field. This value will be, instead of the user, it will be admin, right? So we do the give the permission based on roles. For a normal user, it will be like their normal activities, no, not like modifying the website or managing the website. If you have used this code, you might have know what these role kind of thing mean. Like for each role, normal user, they get some certain permission. For a bit higher level per role, they get more permission. For moderator, they get more permission. So it is something like that, right? And again, if the server is not doing the server side validation, we can just easily intercept the HTTP request and validate it with the Burp Suite, right? So it is very important. So this is what I said, right? Seen the hidden field is can be seen in the HTML source code. Like you right click, use source page, like the way I did over here, this guy, and elements, and then the form body and this field over here. And what it say next is you can modify the request with the Burp Suite and send it to the server. Then now here we have more attributes. One is the value field. So the value attribute is what appears in the field by default. So we have this line over here. It will create a field of text type, and the name of that field will be country, and the value, default value of that will be the US. Okay, so if the user don't do anything, don't change it, the default value of that will be the US. And when we click on the submit, it will send the country of the country will be sent in the HTTP request as US, right? So when you load the page, the field will show US. If the user does not change it and submit the form, the data is sent as country equal to US, right? So I'm just going to copy this again, and let's just paste the line over here. Now let's go here and refresh this. So you see there, this is the country field. Did not give it any label, so that is why we don't see anything. And the default value we see right here, it is the US. So we can just type the UK or just do anything, right? So that is that. And another attribute we have is the placeholder. So we have the same thing over here. This create a text field, we call it email. Instead of we will create the text field, we will name it username, not email. We can, for the email, there is another type itself. Will, if we want to create email email field, we'll type email over here, and that, and then name it email. So and then the placeholder, this what it means is this keyword is, it will store, it will kind of, you will see what this means. Okay, I'm just going to copy this and paste it over here, and let's just change. This is not going to do anything right now, but this is just a name. But I will just type it username, and also give the label as username as well. Okay, so I will just put this over here, and we have this guy. Instead of the enter, let me remove this so that you can see it. What I did actually, if you are confused, let me just recopy that. We copy this guy over here, we will then paste this here, and just I will just change this to the name, username. Okay, because we don't need the email over here, and the placeholder text will be enter your username. So this is like that. Now let's refresh this. So you see right here, this text inside the box you see here is because of the placeholder. So if someone is new, they, and if they don't know what this box is about, we can use the placeholder to just kind of put this already defined this background text kind of. You can just say that this is the background text, which we cannot, which does not affect anything, or we cannot modify it or do anything. So this is that. Now let's add the placeholder text with other field as well. So I'm just going to copy this. Let me just do this so that I can copy the full format. Now I will specify here, enter username, enter your username for this, and for this I will type the enter your password, enter your password. And for this I'm just going to specify enter your email address, enter your email address, right? And let's refresh this now. So you see right here we have the kind of background text in these three fields I just specified in. So this is what placeholder does, and the required keyword what it does is right now if we click on any of these, like if we skip in if I type something in this and all these and skip the username and click on the submit form, it will create the HTTP request and send it to the server without telling us you also need the username. So for example, if you want to create a new user, you will also have to fill the username field as well. But right now it is not validating, it is not making us forceful to also fill the username field. So to make this happen, we're gonna use this required keyword kind of thing. Okay, I just removed the rest of the thing and just only kept the username field and the password field. Okay, and made this username field required, which we must put the username in. So I just go save this and refresh this. So if we type the name over here and the password as well, it is fine. Now if we skip this and type some stuff in this and skip this one, it will say see fill out this field as well, it is required. So this is what the required does. Another is the disable. If we type the disable the way we did right the required keyword, it will disable the field. Okay, so quickly do this as well. Let's disable this one and refresh this, so we cannot enter anything, we cannot do anything. Same is the case for read only attribute, means the field can only be seen but not edited. Let's also try this, what will happen. So I'm just going to write this read only, no, just this. Okay, I need this, and let's refresh that. So we can see it is not disabled, but we can not either modify that as well. It is read only. Now let's understand, I think we have got a lot. Let's understand how the detail we input in these form, how this gets converted into the http request and gets sent to the server, right? So imagine we just type, we have these field username, email, password, country, newsletter. So we type imagine we type this name, and this is the email, this is the password, this we select the UK country, and also check the newsletter box that we want to receive gets the newsletter as well on this email, and we then click on this submit button, right? So what it will do is it will makes the it will create something like this. Let me just do this so you can see it. I don't know why it gets blank, but since we specify in the form over here, I told you earlier, like this the action we perform specifies that to send the to the login. Okay, and then the method will be to the will be the post, so it will send the data to the server on this specific path. So you see right here we see the post method, and this is the path I have told, and this is the HTTP version. I have also talked about this in I guess video 3. Yep, I guess that is video 3. So HTTP, we are using the HTTP version 101, and the host is the actual website we are on. And then the content type is this you see right here, this is the form, and this is the actual data we send to the server. So this is the username, this is the username field name. Okay, the name we write over here, this is that. So username equal to this, and we see the n and these. Let's understand okay how it gets converted into this URL kind of. This is called URL encoding. So user fills form, user see the form on the page, user fill in the form with data, click submit, browser validates. If the form has required field, the browser did the user fill all the required fields, as well as if it has the mail, does is this formatted like an email, it does all this stuff, and the browser look at all the input field in the form like get name, get value. So in such step 4, what the browser does, it gets all of the fields name data, like for example this user name field name data is equal to the data that the user will type over here, right? So that will be that, and the name and the value, it will some become like this: name equal to value, and as I told you, it is called URL encoding. Let's talk about the URL encoding. So wherever you type the space, it becomes either percentage 20 or plus, and the at becomes itself a percentage 40, and slash become a percentage to f. And you can just search for the URL encoders on Google or ask from the cloud. We'll just talk about only specific one. So right here, this is the email field, email equal to john@example.com. Okay, so this is the original, the URL encoded version will look like email john percentage 40 example.com. We talk about here that at will become this sign will become like this. So it is like that now, and the spaces will become either this or this as well. So you see right here the reason as well why it converts into like that. The at itself has special meaning in URL. If we send it directly, it might confuse the server, so we encode that into this which tell the server this is literally this character, this special character. Yep, not a URL separator. Let's see the URL over here, which is the which gets converted. So Jen and this underscore and then this his name, and here it will at the end thing, right? So it separate the different fields. We have the end and email. We understood this. It will no, not here. This is the original one. This one is the URL encoded one. This right here, you see. So this is the name. This is and this is email. It gets converted .com, and we have again the and then we have the password, and then we have this. So hope you understood all of this. Now let's understand why the HTML forms shortly. Let's get the overview why the forms are vulnerable. So number one we have is that if it is the browser validates form fields client side, but we talk about we can use tools to intercept the HTTP request and modify that request and then send it to the server. One is that, another is the hidden field, the one that I talk about, the hidden field. If you remember the user role and then the admin role, we how we modify that, right? This is that, and third one is the client side restriction can be bypassed. So I also gave you the example of if we select on the free one, we will intercept that HTTP request using the Burp Suite and modify that into the premium one. So this is that, and literally every data of the forms can be modified. Like for example, we have this hidden field named price, and its default value will be 50. Now we can use the Burp Suite to like change modify this value and like make it like this 0.01 and then send it to the server. If again the server does not do any server side validation, the item that we buy will cost us this much instead of this much, right? So hope you understood all this. This is very important for us to understand the HTML form, because this is the only thing that the hackers, the attacker target to input their malicious code, their malicious script. So this is why we need to understand it. I would have skipped this part. It is very important to understand this. In the next video we will talk about this, like when we enter the detail, it's sent to the server. How does server the detail gets stored in the database? So how the database and the server communicate, how they take the data, how the server website take the data from the database. Okay, so we will talk about the SQL and these kind of things. If you have any question in this, let me know in the comments. I will make it clear to you, and I will see you in the next video. See you soon.